What's up, guys? I'm getting this video out kind of late. I was away all weekend, just got back, so I figured I would put together a quick update video, just recapping the week and what we're looking for in the upcoming week. So, very sneaky green week on AMC this week. 32% in the green from the bottom of the gap down to your lower low, third bottom. From the bottom of that wick all the way to the top, 32% in the green this week. So Monday to Friday's price action right here. Again, the ascending channel we were looking for played out all week. And I'm almost 100% positive Friday was the end of the iteration in the channel. And we should be gapping up now. So this looks very nice. Just really quickly, touching on the macro again. Same story as always. Downtrend here from 2017 until you squeeze. Downtrend here from the breakdown in the flag from the June highs. Macro break, gap down right here. Macro break, gap down right here. 6 points takes you to the end of the blue. Just laddering down, 6 points takes you to the end of the blue. And then from that 6 point, you drop to the flat portion where you have 3 touches on the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Third touch is the lower low. From the lower low, you form an uptrend, which breaks you out of the triangle, and a straight line into your squeeze. And in the current cycle, same thing. From your 6 point, 3 touches, 1, 2, 3. Third touch is the lower low. And again, all week last week, forming the uptrend, higher highs and higher lows here. This uptrend will be breaking us out of this triangle and leading us a straight line into the squeeze. So the macro looks perfect. Jumping into the micro now, which is just looking at the flat portion, the 1, 2, and 3 bottoms of the previous cycle, 2020 to 2021, where you squeezed, comparably to the current cycle now, January 2023 until present day. So just zooming in on this, again, the same thing on both sides, pretty much, more or less. Couldn't really ask for better touch points here. It looks very, very nice. Again, pay very close attention to the red and blue horizontal lines on both sides. Up top is the January 2021 cycle. On the bottom is the current. Downtrend breaks below the red. Actually, gap down right below the red, as you see right here. Downtrend breaks below the red, gap down, break below the blue, very choppy, poking above it a couple times, and same thing over here, poking above the blue a couple times when you break below it. That's your first bottom in both cycles. From there, you gap up. Get 5 peaks increasing in height. Again, this played out much faster in the current cycle than it did up here. And then from that 5th point, you get into the final iteration, the W with the tri-peak. So downtrend from there, breaks below the red line, bounce off the blue, come back up to the red where you reject, and that brings you to your second bottom. Over here, same thing. Break below the red, bounce off the blue, come back up to the red and reject, brings you to your second bottom. From your second bottom, you gap up. Both cycles, you gap up. 3 peaks here, the blue dots, your tri-peak. And then from that third peak, you reject the red once again, come down to your third bottom, the lower low. So from your third peak, reject the red line again, come down to your third bottom, the lower low. And then from your lower low, I said we'd be forming an uptrend, an ascending channel, which we are, higher highs and higher lows here. Back up to the blue line, and we are looking for a gap up now. This will be taking us to our squeeze. We're looking for a gap up. I mentioned all the gaps are the same. They are. Something very interesting here, just looking at the blue line here. When you get to your first bottom, you gap up over the blue line here. And then your second bottom, right here, again, gap up over the blue line here. Third bottom, again, gap up over the blue line again. So that was the January 2021 cycle. And the current, same story. First bottom, gap up over the blue line. Second bottom, again, gap up over the blue line. Third bottom, now looking for the gap. I'm almost positive we're gapping tomorrow, gapping up tomorrow. If we do gap up tomorrow, we should see a climb that will take us, I'm assuming, to fill the gap at 525 that we left on Friday after hours when we got the gap down to the lower low. When we do get this gap up, I am looking for momentum to bring us back up to that gap fill at 520, in which case you would reject, come down to establish support on the blue line, confirm, bounce off as you see here. So you confirm, bounce off, and then gap up over the red line, which is your macro break. This takes you a straight line to your squeeze. So this is what I'm assuming the entire week's price action looks like. Get the gap up. I'm assuming tomorrow. It could be Tuesday, but I'm assuming we gap up tomorrow, and then this is what the week would look like more or less. Probably more like this. I said this is a very symmetrical move. It is. I could just go to the next slide for that. It's a very symmetrical move. W with the tri-peak. The tri-peak is the middle of the move, left leg of the W, right leg of the W, third bottom, lower low. Bounce up, come down, you get the green box over here, and then same thing. If you're working backwards, bounce up, come down to the blue, and then up. Obviously on the right is your squeeze, and that's what we're looking for over here. So tri-peak would be the middle. Second bottom is your left leg. Third bottom is the right leg, the lower low. And then we're looking pretty much for this green box here, just inverted right here. So come back up to the red, probably fill the gap at 520, come down to the blue. Probably don't come all the way down, but you establish support, confirm, bounce off, gap up, macro break is what we're looking for now. Moving on, we're playing this out faster. The macro in general, we are tracking faster, and the micro, the flat portion, we are tracking faster as well. I've covered this multiple times in the January 2021 cycle, from the beginning of the flat portion until your third bottom, 319 days. In the current, from the beginning to your third bottom, 253 days. We're playing this faster, 1.2 times faster when you calculate the math here, and then just applying that multiplier, the 1.2 multiplier, to the third bottom. Third bottom to peak was 15 days. Third bottom to peak in the current cycle, 15 divided by 1.2 is 12 days. 12 days lands August 29th, which again is 7 trading days post OPEC date. Just like both squeezes we saw January and June 2021 on AMC, landed 7 trading days post OPEC. The math here is implying a peak on that date. I'm not saying we're peaking on that date. I'm just saying, just calculating the speed at which we're playing through the flat portion here. It's aiming at August 29th, which is very convenient for us, as it's the week after we get the reverse split conversion. So the end of this week, Thursday, Friday, the reverse split and conversion will be going through. 24th, 25th, the weekend, 26, 27, and then 28 is Monday, 29 is Tuesday. And again, for the past months, I've been saying over and over, the reverse split and conversion is the catalyst for our squeeze. So perfect timing there on the reverse split, and perfect timing with where we are in our macro, having just checked off the final landmark to the downside, the third bottom, lower low. And we're already back up at the blue line, 401 to 408 range. I mentioned multiple times 2 critical levels on AMC, 401 to 408 range, which we tested all Thursday and Friday, and then 520 to 525 after that, the red horizontal line. Above 525 is your macro break. More than likely it'll be a gap up like you saw here, and a straight line to your squeeze. So really quickly, just talking about the channel from the third bottom. So when you do come to your third bottom in January 2021, you form this uptrend, higher highs and higher lows here. It's an ascending channel. And at the end of the ascending channel, you actually gap up over it, and then you come down and bounce on top of it as support. So this is the move we're looking for now. I'm assuming this is all next week's price action on AMC. Will look something to the effect of this. And then this would be the equivalent here from the third bottom, higher highs and higher lows. This is an ascending channel. Just zooming in on this on a 5-minute. The touch points here are perfect. So here's your third bottom. You get your first touch on the top trend. You actually break above. Over here, same thing. Come down, you bounce up, get this move, very toppy, like 4 wicks here. Come down, bounce up, very toppy move here, 4 wicks. From there, you actually break below the bottom trend, the bottom support trend. You break below it. Over here, same story, broke below it. And then you get the move back up to the top trend, January 15th. You actually poke through slightly, come back down to the bottom trend, which is what we did on Friday. You bounce off, and then from there, you gap up. So I'm assuming we gap up tomorrow, leaning very strongly towards us gapping up tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then more than likely it'll be Tuesday. I think we're gapping up tomorrow, and then from that gap up, we're looking to fill the gap at 520. So that's that. And just really quickly, the daily gaps are all the same, and we're looking for this yellow flag here from your third bottom, your lower low. Again, the ascending channel here, you gap up over it, come down to test the top of it as support, confirm, macro break, these 2 gaps here, straight line to your squeeze. This is an old chart. Here was the gap down that we got after hours, and I said we'd be trading in an ascending channel here before we get a gap up. The yellow flag, same as over here. So just updated. Here it is, all of last week's price action, very accelerated. 5 days here, ascending channel, perfect. Played out much faster than the January 2021 cycle. I said we could expect that as we're tracking faster. And again, we're looking for this yellow flag here. The gap up over is what we're looking for now, and I'm assuming that gap up will bring momentum to fill the gap at least at 520. So again, looking for a gap up. And really quickly, I just want to touch on this. I find this interesting. I pulled a fib spiral here. So just pulling a fib spiral from the all-time lows on AMC to all-time highs on AMC. And starting the spiral at IPO, very interesting touch points here on the spiral. So your first touch point where you meet is actually right before you break into the flat portion of the 2021 cycle, right before you squeeze. So first touch point is the initial flat portion, and the second touch point is the flat portion of the current cycle, and also the end of the macro. So very interesting touch points here. And let me just move myself out of the way. I'm not saying AMC is going to $300. Everyone knows my price target's $140 pre-split. But I am saying that I would not be shocked if we saw a $300 price target for our squeeze. I wouldn't be shocked to see that at all. To see a squeeze where you come up to the top of the spiral and find your rejection there. I'm not changing my price target. I'm just saying this looks pretty wild. So just wanted to touch on that. And that's pretty much it for the video. Once again, two critical levels on AMC. 401 to 408 range, which we actually broke through, tested Thursday and Friday, and closed in that range on Friday. So that was the first range, the blue line. And the second line is 520 to 525. When we do break above the red line here, like you saw here, this is your macro break. It will more than likely end with a gap up over it, and that will be taking us a straight line to the squeeze. So 525, as far as I'm concerned, that is the target, that we want to break 525. That's what we're looking for, and we're looking for a gap up over it. But first, we're looking for this move here. Again, just pretty much playing this out inverted. Working backwards here, come up to the red, come down to the blue to establish support, confirm, bounce off, and then just playing that out inverted over here is what we're looking for. Before you get the gap up over the red, macro break, which will take you a straight line to your squeeze. So I'm assuming all next week looks like this. Gap up, and then this price action here. Or this, just inverting this, gap up, and then all of this price action. That's what I'm looking for next week. Again, reverse split conversion will be happening Thursday, Friday this week. I am expecting green this week. I wouldn't expect anything too crazy. And then the following week after the conversion reverse split, that should be very interesting. So with that being said, that's the video. Another quick one. I'll catch you guys with an update tomorrow.